Tonight, the story of a woman who died alone in her home. The rest of the world wouldn't have noticed if not for the people who lived and worked nearby. They did everything they could. But what happens when someone is overlooked by the individuals who are supposed to help? Investigative reporter Kirsten Swanson has spent the past year trying to answer that question. Kirsten.
Paul, when Minneapolis police first searched for Kathleen Norton last year, they didn't find her. But 5 investigators found police failed to follow up on concerns for her welfare. Officers also failed to bring in city officials who could have found her sooner. The entire situation left an entire neighborhood with a looming question and a sinking feeling they already knew the answer. A beloved neighbor goes missing.
Has anybody seen Katie? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Katie, come to think of it.
We haven't seen her in over a month.
Leaving those in her life.
She's by herself. She doesn't have any family.
With the same question.
Where is Katie?
Where's Katie? Every day. Where's Katie?
Where is she? Where is Katie?
It's easy to miss the 2 identical houses on Barnes Place. Thick trees and brush cover the Minneapolis property, guarded by a high chain-link fence.
So you had to kind of walk under here?
We first visited earlier this year. Pearlie Collins told me it was the first time she could see the doors and windows.
It was pretty cluttered. It was pretty cluttered with things she collected.
Collins lived next door to Kathleen Norton for more than 20 years.
She had a contagious spirit that you just wanted to say hi to her and talk to her.
These photos from 40 years ago are the only pictures we have of the 76-year-old. She lived alone. Katie had no close family, no phone, and no car.
Everywhere she went, she walked.
You'd see her all the time.
It was on those walks she developed friendships with the neighbors, like Sherry Scott.
She always had lots of jewelry and necklaces and bracelets.
And Reeve Klatt, who lived across the street.
She was just very, very kind, wanted to know things about you and your life.
But even those who were closest, Katie held at a distance.
Had you ever been inside the house?
I never had been inside of Katie's house, no.
Why not?
I never desired to go in there because I knew she was a hoarder.
Were you ever invited into the house?
No. There's definitely, I think, some mental health issues that she struggled with.
Which is why they worried when they stopped seeing her in the winter of 2021. During the pandemic, Katie became a regular at Community Covenant Church's food shelf.
She didn't miss like one food shelf day.
Johnny Rogers first noticed her absence in February.
Miss Katie hasn't been coming here for a while. She done missed this month. She missed that month.
Klatt, who also works at the church, realized she hadn't seen Katie either. In late March, Klatt and her husband went to the padlocked gate that surrounds the 2 homes on Katie's property.
When we were hollering for her and nothing, and we were like, well, maybe she's gone.
But then they noticed the mailbox.
I was like, oh my gosh, because I looked and you couldn't put any more mail in. That was a huge red flag.
They called 911 right away.
So you're the one that called? Yeah, I am. Yeah. Okay.
It was March 27th, 2021.
Yeah, this is the one right there.
2 Minneapolis police officers responded to the welfare check.
I haven't seen any ambulances come by any time recently, anything like that either?
No.
Okay.
And she doesn't have like a phone number.
Yeah, she
or
no phone, no TV.
no family.
Yeah, no reason to like go. She's not one to go on vacation or anything like that.
No car. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right, I'm going to take a look at this gate.
To get into the yard, the officer jumped the fence. In his report, he noted items blocking the front and side doors of both homes.
Do you have any idea how she'd actually get in and out of that house?
I have no.
Because the thing of it is, I mean, there's stuff barricaded, pushed up against the doors. If she does that and it's all pressed up against there, where is she now? Because she's clearly not inside the house.
He said she's not in there. He was very emphatic. He just said like she's not in there.
The thing that troubles me the most is what if she was alive?
Janet Yates is co-founder of the Hoarding Project. For years, she researched hoarding disorder and helped develop protocols for cities and counties to follow when dealing with a hoarded home.
Just making an assumption that there's no way somebody could live here is not enough of making sure that no one is there.
What is the process to make sure she's not in the house?
Well, you have to get into the house. You have to walk through the entire house. That's going to be really challenging. That's a difficult thing.
But we don't know how hard or how long that officer looked for Katie. MPD won't give us the entire body camera video, citing privacy concerns. The department also refused repeated interview requests from 5 investigates. A spokesperson said in a statement, after attempting to enter her residence, it was deemed to be uninhabitable due to the extreme number of personal possessions and hazardous conditions.
I didn't see anything that led me to believe that she was there.
But after the officer left, city officials confirm he did not call the housing department to come inspect the home. And we found police officers are not required to take that important step, according to a review of department policies.
The housing inspectors are the ones that have the protocol for what you do with a hoarded homes. What I believe it is a failure not to bring in the housing department right away.
Instead, police had Katie's home boarded up.
If you boarded it up at this point, wouldn't you be 100% sure that she's not in there?
As the weeks and months passed, spring became summer, the neighbors continued to wonder.
Where's Katie? Every day. Where's Katie? All day long, I'd walk past and just think, like, you know, where could she be?
What Collins and her son didn't know was that others had the same question. MPD records obtained by 5 investigates show nearly half a dozen calls to police after that initial search, asking officers to do a welfare check.
So this is a list of the calls.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so many people.
April 10th, the mail carrier who noticed Katie hadn't checked her mail in 3 weeks. April 20th, a man who knew she lived alone. May 4th, a woman who reported she hadn't seen Katie at church.
I have never been told of a case in which that many phone calls were made by neighbors.
And after each call, records show police didn't search the home because it was already boarded up. They also didn't contact housing inspectors.
It's just really disappointing. It's a human being.
The people that cared about her called for help. We called out for help. The best way we know how is to call the police.
Deep down, Collins knew the answer to that lingering question.
It says Katie's in that house. She's in that house somewhere.
On August 18th, 2021, 5 months after the initial search, police gave housing inspectors permission to enter Katie's home. They found unsanitary and dangerous conditions, items piled to the ceiling, floors covered with trash and other debris, a deceased cat. The city condemned the houses and hired a contractor to clear them out. On September 29th, a year ago today, crews found what was left of Katie Norton.
She was found like garbage. She was found like a piece of garbage.
According to the medical examiner's report, she wore multiple layers of clothing. Her remains weighed just 25 pounds. Cause of death, apparent natural causes.
To know, like, all that time where we sat and waited, like she was in there.
I'm sure she laid there, probably waiting on somebody to help her, and nobody never came.
But they saw what everyone else missed.
Because she was a person.
She was overlooked. They boarded up her house and left her there to rot.
Minneapolis police opened an investigation into Norton's death. Now, despite her remains being returned to a distant relative by the medical examiner, the case is still open. We've asked multiple times why that case is still open, and Paul, we haven't gotten an answer from police.
Okay, so many calls were made. Kirsten, thank you.
I think this is a really important reminder of how important community is, and that those neighbors did everything they could.
Neighbors have to look out for each other for sure. Kirsten, thank you.